YouTube? It's Josh, JD. Well, as you can tell by the video title, I have a new firearm. It is a Mossberg 500 AG, and as best as I can tell from the serial number and looking online with a little bit of research, it looks like it was probably born around 1983, 84, 85, somewhere around there. It's had a considerable amount of use, and if I remember, I'll put in the pictures of how it looked before, where the bluing, especially on the receiver, was really marked up, which I don't mind. And it was used for a little bit of home defense. At one point, it was mostly used as a deer gun. If you don't know what a deer gun is, that means you use slugs in it to hunt deer. Really quick way to dispatch a tasty, tasty animal. But as you can tell, it has the wood furniture, the checkering, not like the the 590 style where it has the vertical stripes. It looks like a trench gun from World War I, which I think those are cool. But here, I've got a crack on each side here. And as you can tell by looking at this, that's not the normal color for it, is it? Not at all, not in the least bit. I'm home at lunch. It's Tuesday, the 2nd of whatever month this is, August. I got a wild hair on my butt. I was just going to keep it with the blued, you know, all the weathered blue. There's no bead sight on here. All the weathered look to it. But I decided no. And I like ITS Tactical. I like the videos they also put out on YouTube. Go check them out if you like anything gear related. But Mr. Black, he does gear tasting, which he covers, whole reviews a bunch of stuff. And then he talks about several different topics. One of the things he was talking about that I completely forgot about this colorway was Mass Gray, M-A-S-S Gray. It was it's like a Navy SEAL or just a special operations, not exactly special warfare color they came up with to help camouflage people, especially at night, and he remembered it. So he pulled out some of his Mass Gray clothing that he had, took it to the hardware store, trying to find a paint that matched it as close as possible. And once you know it, he found something that matches it pretty damn close. So here you go. Now we'll go over this way, not as bright. Rust-Oleum's 7754 anodized bronze. It's not really bronze, I'd say. It's more of a grayish color. Not really a green. It's more like a darker gray. But it's pleasing to the eye. And you could really tell at night how it kind of blends into its surroundings pretty darn well. I'm not an operator. I just wanted something cool to coat the gun in. I didn't want to do black. Got enough black. But yeah, he used it. He does a lot of go ruck challenges and things of that sort, and he tested it with infrared night vision and just regular vision, regular nods, and without anything on your eyes, and he said it performed and even outperformed a lot of the other stuff out there for night use. I just want it because I think it looks cool. It was just a simple little rattle can job. I didn't prep the surface except for using denatured alcohol to get any oils and grease off of it. So I did the receiver, the magazine tube, the barrel. I also did the elevator or the lifter. Nah, it probably won't last long, but I thought it'd be kind of cool. Oh, and one other thing. The cross bolt I did the ends. That's the part that sticks through the receiver right here. So let's put it back together. This may be a little bit of a longer video. A simple reason why. I've seen a lot of videos out there that showed you how to disassemble and reassemble a Mossberg 500. And sadly, a lot of those videos suck. They show the person doing it, they either do it so quick and don't explain it very well, or they don't explain what they're doing, and when you try to do what they're doing, or follow the directions, it doesn't work the same way. Keep in mind, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm almost 100% sure I'm going to when I put this back together, because I've only disassembled and assembled this maybe 10 times. And the first time took a while. I had to actually go back online and figure out exactly how to piece it all back together. So, let's go through a little bit of a parts list before we go any further. This is your main body of the gun. This is your receiver. It has the stock still attached and the magazine still attached. These do come out, as well as the ejector inside there. I did not take that out. That is still in there. You have the fore end with the double action bars. Alright. You've got your barrel, whatever length, doesn't matter. All Mossberg 500s are the same in this. That you had the barrel nut, lug, whatever you want to call it, the attachment hardware here is going to be about center of the rifle. The shotgun. You have, I keep calling it elevator, I may be calling it wrong, it's shell lifter elevator. Okay. This is your bolt. It houses your firing pin right there. This was actually really dirty and gummed up with old grease, and it was all black when I got it. And I took it apart and cleaned the shit out of it. This cool looking piece of machining is your bolt carrier. This carries the bolt, and it actually mates into it like so, and it sits inside the receiver. This is, I call it your trigger control group pin or retaining pin. This is what actually holds your trigger assembly in. That's the plastic piece that everyone gripes about, but no one ever has any problems with. And these two are your, I want to say, shell ejector and shell interrupter, if I remember correctly. And that's it. That is a full field strip of a Mossberg 500 before you. So how many pieces do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you have yours all taken apart, count those pieces before you get going. Having a little magnetic tray does help, but we're going to move mine a little bit further out of the way. In case you're wondering why I was making all that sound with shotgun pellets and why I have a cut down cartridge or shot shell, I tested it in my house. You can cut your shotgun shell open, dump all the contents out, so all you're left with is your brass, a little bit of plastic, and your primer. I did this when I first got it. I put it into the chamber, locked it up, pulled the trigger. What happens, make sure there's nothing in your barrel. It goes foomp. It's a primer pop, for one word of it. No, it's dead center on the primer, which is what I like, and it functioned properly. It even ejected it. I just want to make sure the firing pin worked properly and the control group, blah, 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 blah. Alright, how do you assemble all this crap? You got it apart, you tried to put it back together, it didn't work. Or you just got done painting it and you're ready to scratch it for the first time. Take the receiver, that's the main body of it, okay? The stock. Doesn't matter which direction you turn it. Let me see, is this even showing up on camera? Kinda. Not really. Here, take your receiver. And if you notice, you have two sets of holes. Alright? The lower one, if you're holding the shotgun in your arms like you're going to shoot it, is smaller than the upper one, which is larger in diameter. The small one is for the cross bolt that goes through your trigger group. The large one is for those little tabs right there. See those sticking out, those little round parts? Those go into the upper one. So how do you get it in there? Good question. Notice how they look like some really crappy salad tongs? You're going to turn your receiver over and make some room here. This is how it should look. Your receiver is upside down. See how it's upside down? You take this piece like so. So the closed end is going to go towards the end of the barrel. The open end that pinches is going to go towards the buttstock. That's the part you put up against your shoulder if you don't know. In here, there's this little cutout almost in the center. You want to go squeeze them, push it in, keep them squeezed. And you're going to eyeball it. Let me see if I can get it down to where you can see it on camera here. Yeah, you kind of see where it's getting close to that hole, way down in there. You want to do one side first, doesn't matter which side. I got that side in first, see? Right there. It's filled the hole. Now you have to get the other end in. How do you do that? You squeeze it just a little bit, and you need to wiggle, and there you are. See that? Both ends are in. Function check it if you want. It's not going to come all the way open, but it should go all the way in, like so. See how it's parallel with the hole? And it opens like that. So it works. Next, what do you want to do? You want to grab your bolt, or your bolt group. Take a look at it. If you look at this end, there's a little hole. If you look in that hole, I don't know if it's showing up on camera, inside that little hole is a little round pin. That is called your firing pin. On this end, you see that? This is what the hammer of the shotgun hits to actuate your firing pin. Whoa, get that on camera might help, wouldn't it? See it sticking out? Boop, boop. There you go, that's your firing pin actuating. That's what hits the primer on your shot shell. So how do you put this in there? You have an open area like this, you have an open area like that. these little pieces, these little tong type things, these grab the actual brass of the shell, that lip. So what you're going to want to do, see how you have the square piece? You want the square piece to the top of the shotgun. This is the top. Now notice the top is facing down. So that square piece is going to face down. And we're going to insert it the same way you took it out of the shotgun, in this hole right there. This is where your barrel goes into. This is also the direction it goes right here. So square piece down. This is what holds your shot shell facing towards the end of the barrel. I'm just showing you right here. It's a little awkward doing this on camera. I'm holding it with my finger so I don't drop it down in there. So with one finger you're going to keep pushing it. You just keep pushing it. Mine went in very easy. It doesn't always do that every time. Sometimes you'll hit this little shelf right there and you can't get it any further. Inside there, there's a little piece of metal right there. See my finger touching it? That needs to line up with that groove right there. It rides along there, okay? If you run into that shelf, you just give it a little push with one finger or the other, just to lift it up towards the bottom. I know it sounds ridiculous, up towards the bottom, so it rides up. When you get it in there, let me see if I remember how I did this before. I want to say, when you look in here, you get a little closer, the air deck's dry, this notch right here lines up with this notch, I believe, give or take a couple millimeters. We'll find out for sure in a minute. Next, you're going to grab your bolt carrier. Your bolt carrier has two main sides, the bottom and the top. Notice how one side has that little hook on it. See that? See that hook? How is that going to go in there? Good question. I'm sure you don't remember exactly how you dropped it in here. And you know what? I think I forgot a step. Yes. We have to put the forend in with the action bars. This kind of worries some people when they first put it into their shotgun, because it doesn't seem logical the way it works. That slop right there, that's okay. It's by design. That way, if you are being too forceful with it, it's not going to hurt it as much. Notice how you have this open spot right here, right? Where do you think that goes? You're right. You have the end of the magazine. Your forearm, see that? Has a hole right through it, right? The action bars go towards the middle portion. So you're not going to put it like this. You're going to rotate it. This part is where your barrel's going to rest. So we slide it in. All right, keep sliding. And when you get down to the receiver, the action bars actually have two little holes they can go in. As I hit the camera, that's always good. So just wiggle your finger and let them go in. Now I just hit something that made it stop, and this is the point where some people think they're doing something wrong. They don't want to force it, don't want to hurt it, and it's not really going to show up on camera, I don't believe. No, it's going to be really difficult. Well, not too bad actually. If you look right above my thumb, right there, watch closely. See that piece moving in and out? It's hitting a little ledge. So how do you get it out? Past it. You wiggle the bars just a little bit. Up, down, whichever way you can get it. It'll go in. If you pull it out too far, you'll actually pull the action bars out of the receiver like I just did. And there we go. That time it slid in without any problem whatsoever. So this is an important part of these action bars. When you get it into your receiver, see it moving there? See how it has a little U or a little square cut out of there? There's a little gap right there. You see that? That's important. That little gap has to line up with these little gaps. It's amazing. It's like it's all made for itself. This hook goes in that open spot right there. These gaps line up with this. All right? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to realign everything where I believe it's supposed to go. This is how mine's looking right now. A good time to pause it if you want. Remember, you can adjust this piece however you want. It doesn't have to be exact. Because when you put the carrier in there, you can still adjust everything. It's not do or die. So I'm going to set it down. That part goes down into the receiver. The really flat part should be looking up at your face right now. You see that? This is where a lot of people did not explain this very well in the videos I saw. See? It's not really sitting in there perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the action bar just a little bit. Then I'm going to move the carrier up a little, down a little. You're just going to wiggle it around until you get it just right. And there we are. You'll know it feels right when you get it, because all of a sudden it all fits together. Right here, the action bars fit into little squares. Behind this little tiny ramp is that little hook or that tongue, and that grabs into that hole, into other metal in there as well. All that goes together. And if you move it, not a whole lot, see how it moves smoothly, no snagging, and I just pulled it out. It's okay. There we go. That's how it should look. Now move your fore end or your action bar assembly forward about halfway to where it centers itself. Okay, remember that the bolt carrier, that flat piece, should be about squared off in here, inside that cutout. Because next is another part that people often have a problem with. You have these two bars. Bear with me, I'm using one hand to hold the shotgun. They are not the same. They are completely different. Notice how one has that little circle there. There's a reason for that. If you look on your shotgun, you have this one that we'll get to in a minute. That's for the cross bolt. Or cross pin, I should say. But if you roll it over to where you had the ejection port, you have a little hole there. It's all by itself. This odd one, with that round piece sticking out, actually goes inside the hole from the inside. And it goes like that in there. There's a little shelf that's cut out inside there. What I do is I usually line it up in all my 10-12 times of doing this in my vast experience, and I just wiggle it around until I get it lined up into the hole. Excuse me if you're looking at my head. It helps if you don't drop it inside the receiver too, because then you just got to fish it back out. And I'm already doing something wrong, I can tell. I forgot. Here we go. Here's mistake number one. See that little hook part? That goes towards the front of the shotgun, the end of the barrel. You can only put it in one way, and it goes in just like that. I don't know if you saw that or not. Take it out again, and I'll show you again. Hopefully it'll show up pretty good for you on camera. Let's get a little closer. Alright, the hook piece going forward towards the end of the shotgun. The round part of the bar goes into the hole. Round peg, round hole. Get it inside the groove there. Just like that. With one finger, you may need to hold it on there depending how loose it is in there or how jittery your hands are. I'm not going to right now. Notice this one is a little flatter. It's not as crazy looking, but it does have a hook. See that little hook there? Again, these only go in one way. If you're having a hell of a hard time, take it back out, look at it, take a deep breath, try it again. So this goes on the opposite side, and there is a cutout. Wow, that went in super easy. Didn't have to struggle with that at all. You want to make sure that is flush up against the little cutout in the wall, and same with this one. These two together. Because next, you're grabbing your trigger group. Okay? Don't ever pull the trigger and fire this without your hand being on here, the hammer, because you can damage it. It is plastic. You can fire it if you want to. I'm not going to right here because I'm one-handed. But I don't really recommend that too much. Your trigger, if you're used to firearms, you already know how it's supposed to face. You won't work backwards. But notice, I want you to look at the shape of this. You have a little circle right here that sticks out. Down here on your receiver, actually in your rear stock, there's a circle cut out. Huh, look at that. They kind of match up, don't they? It's going to go like this. Right here, if you look onto your firearm, your shotgun, Mossberg 500, you're going to see a little cutout. And if you notice on here, a little out of focus, I apologize, there's little cutouts as well. What do? slide it in, and notice it's not going in, isn't it? That's because that interrupter bar that you put in that has a little tab that goes through the little hole here, you have to push it in just slightly. It's going to feel like a little minuscule amount. So with one finger, just push it in a little bit. With your other hand, take it back out, make sure they're both pushed it, both bars are pushed off to the side, and try it again. Just like that. Sometimes, if you're in a hurry, I just took it out and you can feel with your finger it pops out a little bit. You go put it in, and it won't seat. And there it did. That's because these little bars that we put in just a moment ago will actually move out just a hair and it'll block it. Don't force it. It is plastic. You don't want to damage it because that's more money. But it should seat pretty much all the way. There's a little spring in there. That's why it's popping back up. We're almost done, folks. Alright, so we have a trigger group pin, cross pin, whatever you want to call it. It's the same size on both ends. There's no left or right. It does not matter which direction you go in. It doesn't matter if you go from the right hand side, the left hand side, it makes no difference. When you do, put your thumb, your hand, whatever you want, just push the trigger group all the way down. How do you know if you got it all the way down or not? Let's see. Yeah, you can kind of see some stuff behind there. There we go. See my finger passing by? Ever so lightly? You don't see anything blocking it. That's how you know you got it all the way. So, lay your shotty on the side. Take your pin with one hand, insert it into the whole time, holding the trigger group down. You don't need to do crazy gorilla squeeze. If you can, use your finger and push it in. You're not done. It almost looks flush there, doesn't it? Turn it over. Ooh, look at that. There's a little gap right here. It's not fully seated. If you go shooting like this, yes, it will function, but the pin could back out. You may or may not notice it, and it'll break. You can cause damage in here, or the trigger group can fall out, and well, that's really embarrassing. You could use anything you want to push this through. I usually use my Leatherman Mutt, but I don't want to use that because I just painted this, and it's not even 24 hours old paint. Getting a little ahead of myself with it. That's okay. Here's a punk from 4th of July. Just push on one end. Oh, did you hear that little pop? Little snap? It snapped in. I hope the little microphone picked it up. But when it's even on both sides, you'll feel it. It has a little click. You know you got it. What's next? Next, you have to insert your barrel. So let's take a look at your barrel. Grab your barrel. This is the action end. This is where all the stuff comes out, alright? That's where the flames and smoke and pellets or slugs or whatever you got comes out. This is your barrel nut. This is what actually attaches your barrel, the main attachment point for your barrel to your shotgun. That's what holds it together. Hold it together now. And here is the other end. This is the end closest to you. Look at all that cutouts and this, that, and the other. This is what actually connects to your receiver. This is what creates that seal so it doesn't blow up in your face. That would be bad. If you're not familiar with shotguns, yours probably has a sight, a bead sight, ghost sights. Who knows what you have on yours? Mine has a rib on it. It's to help with duck hunting, shooting clays, shooting doves, things like that. So with this one, I want to make sure my rail's up top. So we're going to lay the shotgun out like this. Keep in mind, I know this is long and it's a little wordy, but it's kind of like Shotguns 101 for some people, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Look at the end of the magazine. It is threaded, right? There's a spring inside there. You can actually take this off. Right here, you need a tool for that. You don't have to use a specialized tool, but using it will keep you from marring it up or possibly damaging it. Those threads match up with this bolt right there. So how do we get it together? Because notice one's longer than the other. All of that good stuff right there goes into the big hole on top of your receiver. So let's put it together. Now I'm being very tentative because this is fresh paint, okay? So you're going to slide it in there. By the way, I do not have my action all the way forward or all the way back. It's kind of in the middle-ish, a little closer to the back, doesn't matter. That relieves some pressure. It moves the bolt group away from the end here where it's going in so it doesn't cause interference. Yes, you can do it without it. It just makes it easier if you open it up kind of in the middle. Pro note, but I'm not a pro. So, line that up. Is this showing up on camera? No. Seriously, Josh. Come on now. There we go. You're going to line up your bolt with the magazine. And notice, it doesn't go all the way in, does it? And notice, that's not all the way in there. That's because you have to use this thumb screw. Now, I'm going to do mine upside down, which I've never done in my life with any shotgun. So, let's try this. Now listen. See if you can hear this. You hear that? Now all of a sudden, I got a gap here. It stops turning. I got a gap there. It's not going in all the way. Don't try to force it in with just the bolt. Take one hand, wiggle it side to side ever so slightly, and gently push it in your barrel into the receiver, and now you can screw it in some more. Alright? Do this the first time you're putting this together. If you start to feel a lot of back pressure on it and they're not mated up, give it a little wiggle, because it has to lock in. Alright, we're fully seated, thumb tight, and we're fully seated up there. That ring is my crappy tape job. Apparently I did not tape it up properly. Oh well, lesson learned. So, I'm making sure we're nice and tight. Check the safety. Yeah, it moves forward. Safety is off when you push it in the direction of the pellets that they travel. That is safety on. If you push it forward on a new one, this will be red. Mine is missing. That's okay. How do you function check your shotgun? Alright, your action's open. You got no ammo in there, right? You just visually check. You stick your finger in there if you want, whatever. I got no ammo in here. Rack it forward. Don't gently rack it like that. No. Rack it forward. Don't be shy. Now look. Oh no. I can't pull it back. Remember I said this is kind of like Shotgun 101? See this right here? That's a release. That allows it to go forward. When it goes all the way forward without any ammunition in it, it automatically locks. So, depress this. I'm still depressing it. And pull this towards you. See that? It opens your action. If you want to cycle it several times, I'm using my middle finger, my firing fingers up on the receiver. Just hold it down. Just like so. Alright? So let's load this biatch. Mine is a 5+1. Alright? What that means is I can load 5 shells plus 1 in the chamber. The chamber... Uh-oh, did I screw up? No. The chamber is where the actual shells go to when you're going to fire one, to ignite one, to light one off. So we got 3, 4, 5. What do we got going on here? There we go. There is a shell. Right there, see that? It's on the elevator. Pull it forward, and it loads it. Now you can put one more in the magazine tube. Now we're ready to rock and roll. To fire, you take it off safety. And that's it. Ooh, look at that, my first scuff marks. They kind of rub away. I don't care about the scuff marks so much. But then I'm going to take you out the tripod and give you a looky-loo at my shotgun so you can see how it looks a little more fully assembled here. Let's go for a ride. There we are. So there it is. Again, it's kind of like my version of Mossberg. Thank you. I think his name's Ian Black at ITS Tactical. Great idea. I think it looks pretty good with the wood. I didn't paint this because it's plastic. I could have, but I like the little black accent there. If you're interested, once again, 7754 anodized bronze Rust-Oleum. It's a semi-gloss, so if you're trying to be all tactical, you won't like it because it's a little shiny. There you go. What do you guys think? How could I improve? May need to redo the video in case it doesn't make sense. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, smart remarks, if you're on YouTube, you know what to do. Put them down below. Thank you for watching.